Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News, which is live from our studios at number 11 Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live across the globe on citinewsroom.com, Citi 97.3 FM on Facebook, and CityTube on YouTube. I'm Wilma Obubisa Coleman, and this afternoon I'm here with
Charles Owusukumi.
Coming up, tricycle operators in the Ashanti region on rampage on major streets, mounting roadblocks to intensify protest over ban on their movements in the Kumasi metropolis. Also coming up, inflation sees a rise for the third consecutive time, hitting 43.1% for the month of July.
Comparing these two indices, that is 191.0, year-on-year inflation for the month of July 2023 stood at 43.1%.
Still ahead, nurses at the Bimbilla Hospital in the northern region resume work partially following reconnection of water to some wards at the facility.
We had an agreement that this morning work will resume. So some of the units have started work.
And later, Auditor General directs Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly to retrieve an amount of 157,000 Ghana cedis with interest from operators of franchised public toilet facilities in the metropolis. Stay tuned as we bring you details of all that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is also live on all our affiliates across the country. In the Western region, you're listening to us on Premier 100.5 FM and Beach 105.5 FM, both in Takoradi. In the Bono region, we are live on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyai. In the Ashanti region, this is Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Eastern region, this is Right 90.1 FM in Somanya. In the Volta region, Holy 98.5 FM in Aflao. In the Northern region, you're listening to us on Dasuma 99.1 FM in END. In the Upper East, this is Word 88.3 FM in Zuarungu. And in the Upper West region, this is Bulgari Radio 88.6 FM in Wa.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your time this afternoon. We'll settle for the details of our stories. Now we'll begin in the Ashanti region because tricycle operators there are on rampage as they intensify their protest against a directive to restrict their movement in part of the Kumasi metropolis. Although the directive is limited to some areas in the Kumasi metropolis, the tricycle operators have extended their protest to other areas in the Ashanti region. They have decided not to work today as part of their protest, and they are also forcing passengers out of their tricycles on the roads. The police had to intervene at some intersections on the main Angoga Junction Airport stretch to get the protesters to remove some roadblocks that had slowed traffic flow. As a result, passengers have been left stranded, and here is one speaking to my colleague in the Ashanti region.
I was going to the market. When I got to the station, they said the Praga people are not working. And they said that the government said they should not work. So when I get here, there was a lot of people demonstrating. They are making noise. They are saying the government should listen to them. But I would think the Praga is helping us a lot. The Praga is helping us in case of it doesn't waste time. The trottoir people, when you get to the trottoir, it has to stand on the road there. But the Praga, when you get in, 3 people, 2 people, one or more, the government should come to their aid. They should listen to what they are saying, and the Praga is helping us a lot.
So today, how has it affected you?
Yeah, it it has affected me and it has wasted my time. Because if there was a Prague here, I would have been in the market right now. I wouldn't have been standing here wasting time.
You heard a passenger of the Pragya expressing her displeasure about the ongoing protest by the operators. We'll go over the phone lines to speak to our Ashanti regional correspondent, Hafiz Tijani, to tell us more. Good afternoon, Hafiz. Many thanks for your time. What is accounting for this latest roadblocks by the tricycle operators?
So we know yesterday 12 of these protesters who went to the premises of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly to get the impounded tricycles released to them had gone to court or were put before court, the Ekropon District Court, and were remanded. So they are not happy about this. And they are saying that because the ban has started in some of the areas within the Kumasi metropolis, they fear that the authority might replicate some of these directives or some of the directives to the other areas within the Ashanti region, and they are not happy with that. So they want to do this to send a signal to the authorities so that if there's an intention of extending the directives to other parts of the region, that will be curtailed. So today they blocked roads, as you mentioned, and they restricted some of their members from working, and passengers who were in these tricycles going to various destinations, their various workplaces and schools, they were forced to get down, and the tricycle owner was also forced to park the tricycle. So that is what has been happening since morning, and they extended it by blocking some of the roads and distracting other commuters who were also going through their normal activity. So the court incident that happened yesterday is playing a key role as far as today's protest is concerned.
Now, Hafiz, we understand the Member of Parliament for Asawase is scheduled to meet with these operators. Has the meeting taken place, and what's the outcome?
Well, currently he's in meeting the leadership of the tricycle operators. Scores of the tricycle operators have converged here at the post office park and waiting for the Member of Parliament to address.
Hello, Hafiz. We seem
the MP shortly, but they are not so happy. They say they are still waiting for the MP to come and address them, and they will hear what he has for them.
Well, thank you so much for that update. That was our Ashanti regional correspondent, Hafiz Tijani, there.
Let's now head to the northern region. Nurses at the Bimbilla Hospital, who embarked on a sit-down strike due to the unavailability of water, have partially resumed work. This comes after water was supplied to some wards in the hospital this morning. The Bimbilla Hospital owes a significant water bill of 240,000 Ghana cedis, and that led to the disconnection of water supply. The situation forced patients to seek medical attention elsewhere out of frustration. The Municipal Director of Health Service for Nanumba North, Francis Atiagbo, has been speaking to Citi News.
As of yesterday, we met with the nurses group at the hospital, and we had an agreement that this morning work will resume. So some of the units have started work. Earlier in the day, there was a complaint that some pregnant women came to the ANC session, and then they were misinformed that service was not going to be provided today. But we've gone to the ANC session this morning to address that situation. And so currently the pregnant women are gathered there. The service is beginning at the ANC.
Has the water issue been addressed?
Session of the hospital, the water situation has been resolved. It's only this broken pipe to the other areas that they are still working on this morning to fix the problem, and then the whole hospital will be supplied with water.
So now the general public can come to the hospital for services?
Yes, and now the general public can come. Even it was announced in the radio station that work is resuming today. So anybody who feels unwell and wants to seek medical care at the hospital. Thank you so much.
That was the Municipal Director of Health for Nanumba North in the Northern Region, Francis Atiagbo.
Now, the Auditor General has directed the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly to retrieve an amount of 157,000 Ghana cedis with interest from operators of franchised public toilet facilities in the metropolis. This was contained in an Auditor General's report on ensuring cleanliness of home and public toilet facilities in the Cape Coast Metropolitan area. There's more in the following News Desk report.
The presence of edifices like the Cape Coast Castle makes the city a destination of interest for tourists. The impression of the country to visitors is therefore taken from Cape Coast, but reports suggest that the Cape Coast metropolis is bedeviled by unsanitary conditions. The immediate environs of the castle and surroundings of the Cape Coast metropolis have not been kept tidy, and that leaves a bad impression on tourists. From 2017 to September 2022, the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly spent about 3.3 million Ghana cedis on sanitation in the metropolis, but the poor sanitary conditions prevail. The situation has compelled the Auditor General to commission a performance audit to investigate how the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly tried to keep a clean environment in the metropolis from August 2017 to September 2022. The audit found that about 73% of houses in Cape Coast were surrounded by piles of refuse, unclean gutters and other nuisances. It was also noted that the Assembly could not prosecute sanitation offenders with their bylaws as they were outmoded. The Auditor General also accused the management of Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly of not adequately monitoring the operations of all public toilet facilities to ensure that environmental nuisances were effectively rectified. On the management of public toilet facilities, the audit found that the Assembly was unable to collect revenue amounting to 157,000 cedis from operators of franchised public toilet facilities in the metropolis. The Auditor General, among other recommendations, has asked the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly to update its sanitation bylaws to enable the Assembly prosecute sanitation offenders. The Assembly has also been directed to retrieve the 157,000 cedis with interest from public toilet franchise operators.
That News Desk report was filed by my colleague Charles Owusukumi.
Now, a 45-year-old barber and a native of Yendi has been remanded into police custody for allegedly defiling a 14-year-old girl contrary to the Criminal Offences Act. The suspect, Tahiru Abdul Razak, a physically challenged man on the 7th of August, allegedly had carnal knowledge of the victim at Nanyili Fond, a suburb of Yendi. The prosecutor, DC Inspector Nicodemus York, prayed the court to remand the culprits while investigations continued. The judge, His Honor Anthony Aduku Edu, has remanded Razak to reappear on the 15th of August for his plea to be taken.
Now, inflation for the month of July 2023 has increased to 43.1%, up from 42.5% in June 2023. This is the third time in a row that the country's inflation rate has inched upwards after declining from December 2022. According to data from the Ghana Statistical Service, the primary drivers of the rise were food and non-alcoholic beverages, as food inflation increased by 0.8 percentage point, while food inflation rose significantly to 55%. Non-food inflation jumped by 33.8%. Professor Samuel Kobna-Enim is the government statistician.
Year-on-year inflation for the month of July 2023 stood at 43.1%. This literally means that between July 2022 and July 2023, general price levels of goods and services went up by 43.1%. From a trend perspective, we continue to see that year-on-year inflation inching up. In April 2023, year-on-year inflation was 41.2. It inched up by 1.0 percentage point to 42.2 in the month of May 2023. Further went up by 0.3 percentage point between May and June 2023. And in July, we see another increase of 0.6 percentage point for the year-on-year inflation, which currently stands at 43.1. Disaggregating July 2023 rate of inflation into the components of food and non-food inflation, we recorded a 21.2 percentage point variation between food and non-food inflation, with food inflation for the month of July 2023 55.0% relative to 33.8 for non-food inflation for the month of July 2023.
Staying with the story, the government statistician has emphasized the need for a mix of monetary support and real sector interventions to tackle rising inflation.
Given what we are seeing, which is purely a distributional issue, we need to complement monetary financing with other real sector interventions. Some of the real sector interventions is what we're talking about. See how you can consistently increase your agricultural output, keeping in mind the population that we have. We see increases in our agricultural products, specifically crops, but the discourse around per capita consumption of each of the agricultural products is yet to surface. Given the population increase and given the agricultural product increase, can we confidently say that agricultural products are increasing? Then the second point is about distributional issues. We are working with the Ministry of Food and Agri to map out where we have all the agricultural products and then look at the other demographics like population and so on and so forth and see how we can effectively distribute goods and services given the peculiarities that we have in the respective geographical locations equitably. And this is a conversation that has started. We are hoping that with all the development authority and so on that we're thinking about as a country, it would kind of help solve some of these challenges.
You heard the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna Ini.
Now, education think tank Africa Education Watch is urging the Ghana Education Service to ensure the prosecution of the 2 teachers who were arrested for engaging in examination malpractice in the ongoing Basic Education Certificate examination. The 2 were arrested on Monday at the Dunkwa Secondary Technical Center in the Upper Dentra East Municipality of the Central Region. EduWatch says although this year's examination has been devoid of leakages, such acts affect the credibility of the examination. Divine Kwe is a senior programs officer at EduWatch.
For us, we think this has been an improvement so far compared to the previous years, especially when it comes to the leakages. It is very important that when persons are caught involving in or aiding pupils or candidates to write the examination, they are brought to book, because you look at GES code for teachers or general GES staff members. The code frowns on teachers giving aid to candidates during external and internal examinations, and there are punitive actions in the code regarding that. And then if you look at WIEC's own rules and regulation for invigilators, supervisors, there are punitive actions that are outlined in that too. So I believe strongly on the side of GES, they should take punitive actions against those teachers, invigilators, and at the end of WIEC too, they should also apply their code. Where there are elements of criminality, Ghana police should be able to come in and deal with that. And it's very important that the outcome of such investigations through conclusion is made public so that it can serve as a deterrent to subsequent invigilators.
The think tank also reacted to the incident where the head teacher of Gomwa Budwata DA Junior High School failed to register some students for the examination.
It's difficult to understand how this actually played out. I'm still struggling to understand how it played out, because even if the head is collecting money to register the pupils or the candidates, at the end of the day, we have exam officer at the various district education offices. So if a particular school has not registered for the examination officer should be able to know. So I'm wondering why there has to be a waiting of time till this time around when the exam starts before this realization is coming that these candidates have not been registered and now they have to pick the head up. I strongly feel that the exam officer probably has relaxed on his work. However, this is a criminal issue, and then there's a need for it to be treated as such. Once the person has been picked, I feel strongly that investigation has to be done and appropriate sanction meted out to the head.
Divine Kwe is a senior programs officer at education think tank Africa Education Watch.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabaka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, the Environmental Protection Agency is refuting claims that Nixon Paper Mill Ghana Limited located in Winneba, is presently releasing untreated wastewater into the sea. We'll bring you details of that shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Get ready to witness a remarkable fair to showcase the rich diversity, talent, innovation, and mastery of made in Ghana products and services with the This is Ghana Exhibition 2023. Citi TV and Citi FM will allow you to immerse yourself in a vibrant showcase of authentic Ghanaian products and services in the biggest trade fair and exhibition for local SMEs, startups, research and manufacturing industries, homegrown businesses, and indigenous corporate bodies Ghana has ever seen. We shall promote, support, and patronize various Ghanaian products, solutions, and services that are redefining the views on indigenous products and their packaging across all sectors. Join us at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly on the 26th and the 27th of August 2023 at 10 a.m. through till 5 p.m. each day. Call us now on 0205-973-973 for inquiries on how to participate. The This is Ghana exhibition is powered by Citi TV and Citi FM and proudly sponsored by MTN Momo, Nalo Solutions, and Pan-African Savings and Loans. Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, owning a smart mobile device is as important to students in tertiary institutions as far as effective teaching and learning is concerned. Owing to these areas where tertiary institutions are situated are usually crime hotspots as student residents fall prey to thieves. The following report by Jerry Jeffrey Fifi and here at the Citi Newsroom has more in the following report.
Panic gets through the veins of student residents in Jowlu as the sun sets on another day of lectures. Those who prioritize their safety and the security of their prized smart devices find themselves confined within the walls of their hostels, refraining from venturing onto campus grounds. Even the vicinity of the hostels offers no solace, as the threat of armed men looms ominously. To navigate this perilous landscape, students are compelled to traverse in groups, an essential strategy to ward off potential encounters with these criminals. Jowlu, once a peaceful town, has now been tainted by the scourge of criminal activity as student residents become prey to audacious phone-snatching assailants. Within this climate of fear, students from the University of Arts and Media and Communications Ghana Institute of Journalism find themselves shackled and able to trek alone after lectures, recounting tales of terror and victimization to Citi News.
It happened about a few weeks ago around Jowlu, around the Paris Chapel, Jowlu Paris Chapel, on the Bethany Methodist stretch. So I was going to the pharmacy to get a laxative. I was going with my friend around 9 p.m. And one white Honda Civic stopped me and asked to talk to me for a moment. So I went closer, and he said, he's going to Cafe Bar Noir. Yeah, Caf Bar Noir, I'm not sure what it's called. So where's the direction? I'm like, it's just at the other side of the road. You just have to cross and then take your next right and get there. And he's like, okay, he's actually going to have dinner. So do I mind joining him? And I'm like, no, I don't know you. Moreover, it's late, so I don't think it's okay for me to join you. And he said, okay, then he would like to have my number, so we talk later. So I tried giving him the number, and he said, he wants to take my phone and then input the number for me. I'm like, no, I would actually do that myself. So just like tilting the phone this way, dialing the number, typing the number, right? And then he snatched it and drove off.
On our way coming, just a few, 2 minutes walk to the hostel, then we saw a motorbike parked aside. So when I saw the motorbike, I detected that something bad is about to happen. So I told the girls that I was working with two girls. I told the two girls that no, the motor parking there, they might be criminal, so we should be alert. And where we've gotten to, we can't get back. So we need to move on with the journey. So I told the girls that no, they should be alert. So when we got to where the motor was parked, there were two men standing there. I greeted them, then we passed by. So the moment we passed by them, then they also sparked their motor following us up. So I asked them, why are they following us? And they said, aren't also human beings like them? So they came closer to us, but I was ahead of the girls. So the moment they came closer to us, then they pulled a knife. I mean, the one that they've been using at butcher house to cut meat. Then the girls started shouting, but I was the one they rushed. So like, I was overwhelmed. Then they pulled the knife from me. Where is your phone? I told her I don't have a phone. So the one with the knife rather touched me and detected that I've put in the phone in my trousers. He pulled the phone out, placed the knife for me that I should unlock the phone for him.
In a conversation with the Vice President of the Student Representative Council, SRC, and several students, their shared experiences attest to the unsettling frequency of such incidents. Each voice carries a lament, a plaintive cry against the hazards that have become all too familiar, with a plea for intervention. They implore the authorities to quell this rising menace. The toll on their academic pursuits is evident, as reliance on mobile devices for studying collides with the trauma they are forced to endure.
As an SRC as a whole, we've had numerous complaints, so we've witnessed people having these problems with robbery around campus and outside campus. So normally what we do to aid them is when they come and report, we find a way to assist them. Sometimes it's their phone which gets snatched, or sometimes it's my
efforts to solicit information from the Ghana police regarding these distressing incidents have yielded no fruitful results, as bureaucratic hurdles impede the flow of information. Accusations of indifference are hurled at the police, with victims decrying their perceived lack of seriousness in addressing these crimes. A heartfelt appeal is directed at the law enforcement to redouble their efforts in bringing these perpetrators to justice.
We went to the police station and then they said go and come today, tomorrow, today come. And I think it didn't go anywhere. So the people have realized that even when they do it, nothing will happen.
Interactions with victims reveal a pervasive sense of helplessness when faced with such harrowing situations. In response, security experts step forward to educate the public on imperative safety measures, empowering individuals to navigate their daily lives and greater cautions and awareness.
Well, in security, the key word is deterrent, because it's very expensive to raise money to acquire a property of any sort. In the student setting, the first thing is disability. And I've noticed that in most of the student colleges, the lighting is a problem. Most of the street lights are very dysfunctional. So these bad guys can just hide around that and pounce on unsuspecting students and things of this nature. So I will encourage school authorities in these schools to, as a matter of agency, lighten up the place and get their street lights working.
Citi News' Jeffrey Fifianan filed that report and was read by Fred Duho.
Now, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has refuted claims that Nixon Paper Mill Ghana Limited, a paper manufacturing company located at Winneba in the Central Region, is presently discharging untreated wastewater into the sea. The EPA's stance was taken after it conducted investigations into allegations made against the company. Although the EPA acknowledges that the company engaged in such practices prior to 2021, its intervention has compelled the company end the practice. The executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Henry Kokufu, said during a media interaction that his outfit was currently monitoring the activities of the company to ensure they abide by the laws of the agency.
In order to avoid contaminating the two water bodies, the company decided to treat the wastewater and then discharge the treated wastewater into the sea. So pipelines were constructed, of which Environmental Protection Agency were aware of that. However, the company, on completion of the facility, decided not to discharge the treated wastewater into the sea or any other environmental ecosystem, but reuse the water as they themselves needed the water for production line. So they had what we call recycling of water, reuse of water as a resource. So the notion that they are discharging into the sea of untreated wastewater, for now, our investigations says for now it is not the case. However, we are still in the process of further investigating if there had been a period that they did so.
That was the Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Henry Kokofu.
Government has released an amount of 35 million Ghana cedis in grants to some 270 micro, small and medium enterprises MSMEs under the Ghana Economic Transformation Program. The grants will aid beneficiaries fund various projects ranging from the purchase of machinery and equipment to working capital and infrastructure investments. Some MSMEs have in the past bemoaned the lack of support by the government in helping them scale up their businesses, but the Ministry of Trade and Industry notes that the move to step in forms part of government's effort to strengthen local businesses and position them as viable entities for economic growth and transformation.
The Wa Circuit Court on Monday remanded a 35-year-old man for allegedly defiling 12 children in Wa, the Upper West Regional Capital. The 35-year-old Rashid Ahmed is to reappear in the court presided over by Jonathan Avogo on Monday, August 14, for his plea to be taken on 12 counts of defilement charges preferred against him by the Upper West Regional Police CID. Citi News' Latif Mahama was at the court and reports.
Rashid Ahmed was arrested last Friday after painstaking investigations by personnel of the Upper West Regional Police Criminal Investigations Department. Police sources say he has been on the run for the past 2 months after a resident of Wa reported him to the police for defiling over 30 children within the town. News about his arrest spread like wildfire within the Wa town. It was a sight to behold on Monday, August 7, as parents and family members of the alleged defiled girls, as well as people from all walks of life, thronged the Wa Circuit Court to catch a glimpse of the accused and to witness proceedings.
About 2 months ago, a group of young men in Wa saw the accused person in a suspicious mood with 2 children, or 2 13 and 11-year-old. So the youth went to his house to confront him on his relationship with the children. He claimed that he didn't have any relationship, but upon further interrogation, the children confessed that they were having sexual relationship with him and that they go to him and have sex with him and he give them 10 cedis each. So the Department of Social Welfare and Bahas Foundation decided to lodge a complaint at the police station against him. When the complaint was lodged, he got wind of it and escaped the jurisdiction. And information we gathered indicates that he was in Burkina Faso. And from Burkina Faso, he's based in Burkina Faso. He spoke to radio stations, granted interviews, saying that he has been advised to withdraw from the system until calm returns. So that is why he withdrew from the system. But only Thursday, he sneaked into town. But all this while, police were having intelligence on him, around his environment and everything. So he sneaked into town, and police got wind of it and moved in and picked him. He was picked on Friday, and today we arraigned him before court. The facts were read out. We have charged him with 12 counts of defilement, because so far there are so many girls that are involved. But the ones that are prepared to talk to us are 12. The ones that are prepared to be witnesses in court and speak to the issues, the ones that are telling us what he has done to them are 12 at the moment. So we charge him 12 counts of defilement, and the ages of the children range from 10 years and the oldest is 15. So in court today, we did not take his plea. We asked the court to lawfully put him in police custody to enable the police tidy up or tie some few loose ends. And we promised the court that because of the nature of the case, because it has generated so much public interest, we pleaded with the court to allow us have a daily trial of the matter until the matter is disposed of. And the court appeared to agree with us. So we set Monday for us to commence the trial.
Saeed Abdul Shakur assured the public that his outfit will pursue the case to its logical conclusion.
The evidence, the victims are very tender and brittle. They can easily be broken. So if we don't move fast and allow time to pass, we might lose some of the witnesses. So we are going to be very expeditious and we are going to give out our best in this matter. And from the evidence that I have perused and what I have seen, I believe strongly in the state's case. And I believe the state has a very good case to prosecute and secure conviction.
The complainant in the case expressed trust in the court and called on residents to show interest as the case progresses.
I actually want the court to do justice to the case. And I believe in the law system, the system. So, and I knew the law will deal with Anata, whether he's at fault or he can be free. But
what motivated you to report the case?
I'm a citizen. I'm not a spectator. So I have children, and I know it can happen to my children too. So that's what I've taken the matters up. The very first day I saw this thing, I said, no, let me come and see whether somebody have reported it. But when I came to the office and I realized that it wasn't reported, I said, no, I will report this case no matter how it is. So I have to report this case and make sure that the law will deal with him, Anata. Nobody, and I tell you, nobody can see me off. Nobody can see me off. I prefer to die on this issue than somebody see me off.
The Upper West Regional Director of the Department of Children commended the police and charged residents in the region to expose all persons whose conducts are detrimental to the development of children.
Sometimes somebody might have a condition, and all we need is to give this person that correctional assistance. But because we fall under this whole feeling of, oh, he's one of us, let's protect him, let's shield him, we are not doing that person any good. We are only covering up for the person to rather deteriorate and become a worse person. That in future, we ourselves will even feel bad to associate ourselves with such a person.
As the case continues, residents within the Wa municipality are calling for justice for the victims. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Latif Mahama. Wa.
And back here in Accra in the studios of Citi FM here in Adabraka, I am Wilma Ubu-Bisakoman here with Charles Owusu-Kumi. Still ahead on the Citi Prime News, we'll bring you a feature that delves into the realm of brain aneurysm, shedding light on this deadly and often misunderstood medical condition. Do stay with us, we have more.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Happy birthday to you.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Throughout all life-changing moments such as graduations, weddings, funerals, birthdays, ATL is there to ensure you're never out of style. When you think fabric, think ATL. Log on to atlfabrics.com. Order and buy your favorite ATL fabric. You can also visit our shop at number 40 Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, opposite the Swansea Shopping Arcade at Accra Central. Also available in leading fabric dealer shops in Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
You have 10 voice messages.
Kofi George, it's your father. I've called several times. My medicine is finished.
Kofi, Auntie Akola's funeral is next week.
How can I attend? Call back. Kofi, it's your mother again. Pick my calls, why? I was told to contribute to the SNIT scheme, but I refused. Now, I depend on my children for my needs. It may be late for me now, but you can choose a better path.
Do not end up like Kofi George's parents, always depending on your children to care for you. No matter the work you do, register and sign up for Seed from SNIT for old age pension, invalidity pension, and survivor's lump sum benefit for your dependents. Take control of your future. Ayodachio, Fano Personal. Contact SNIT on 0302 611 622 or on socials at SNIT Ghana. SNIT, we deliver on our promise. T's and C's apply.
SSNIT. Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. Now let's talk about health, because Citi News' Rachel Engman brings us a compelling feature that delves into the realm of brain aneurysm, shedding light on this deadly and often misunderstood medical condition. The feature was read by Citi News' Nashika Caesar.
Brain aneurysms, a silent and potentially life-threatening medical condition, affects approximately 3 out of every 1,000 people annually. Referred to as cerebral aneurysm, this tickling time bomb lurks within weakened blood vessels, capable of rupturing at any given moment, leading to dire consequences. This condition does not discriminate based on age, impacting individuals of all age ranges, but it is more frequently observed in women over the age of 40. One courageous survivor, Doris Osei, takes us on her miraculous journey after her diagnosis with a brain aneurysm, revealing her inspiring story of hope and resilience.
I remember on the 29th July 2013, I had finished everything in the evening, and then whilst brushing my teeth to go to bed, I felt this severe pain. And, all of a sudden, after the pain, and then it radiated into my neck, and my neck became stiff. I couldn't do anything, so I was rushed to the hospital. The scans didn't show anything, and I had the scans at the diagnostic center at East Legon. And because of the headaches, I was being always taken in an ambulance. So nothing showed that it was brain aneurysm, but they suspected it was a migraine. So I was given medications and later discharged home. And then a few days, I felt unwell again, vomiting with severe pain. I was sent back to 37. I was there, with my medications, and then some of the medications were changed. And then later, a neurosurgeon who was also at 37, a consultant neurosurgeon, Dr. Victor Smatabe, was contacted. So he came to the ward I was, and then assessed me, and then said I should be taken to the neuro ward. And then later, Dr. Victor Smatabe came and then said that it was brain aneurysm. I had to, look for funds and then go to India for the treatments.
How did you feel when you were diagnosed with brain aneurysm? How was the feeling like? Did you even have any idea what brain aneurysm was or is?
I didn't know what brain aneurysm was. But then anytime when I was on admission, anytime my headache subsided, I go to my phone to look, to find out what it is. And then I realized it was something that was killing a lot of people. And in fact, I even read that about 50% of the people who get brain aneurysm don't even get to the hospital. They die before getting to the hospital. So I was scared. I was really, really scared. And then I didn't think I was going to survive. I even told my family I wanted to have a video done for my daughters, but my family refused because they said that, if they had done that, maybe I would have given up. I was in the house. I wasn't doing anything. In fact, even bathing, sometimes someone would have to stand by me because I had numbness on my left side. And I even forgot my alphabet. So I had partially memory loss. And, I couldn't do anything.
What was running through your mind minutes before the surgery?
A day before the surgery, I spoke to my family and then asked them to pray for me and that the surgery was going to be tomorrow. But then, if I die, my daughters, they should really take good care of my daughters. Yeah. So, the very day, I just prayed and then I asked God to take care of me.
How are you living? Life is stressful sometimes. How do you deal with stress?
Well, it's stressful, but then I have, after surviving, I made up my mind not to let things worry me. If there is something I can do, I will do. If there is something I cannot do, I will not bother myself.
Resilience. Venturing further into this medical enigma, we seek insight from a distinguished neurological surgeon shedding light on the intricacies of brain aneurysms, the associated risk, and the critical significance of early detection and treatment.
For unruptured aneurysms, usually they are small, but sometimes when they grow big, they start pressing on subjacent brain structures to cause a deficit. It will also present with some nausea and some vomiting depending upon the pressure. The worst ones are the ruptured aneurysms. When they rupture, most patients will tell you the description that they gave is explosive, excruciating, and some people will label it the worst headache of their lives. It is sudden. Depending upon the amount of blood injected, the person will have the headache and other symptoms will follow. Otherwise, if the pressure built up from the blade is high, they go straight into coma. So let's take those who experience the headaches. The symptoms are varied, also depending upon location of the aneurysm. They will complain of photophobia. They can't stand light, bright light. They will hide in a dark room, stiff neck. They get nausea and they will vomit because the subarachnoid space is continuous through the spinal cord, down and everything. Majority of aneurysms will rupture between age 35 to 60. This is in the productive years of a person's life. Also, there is a difference. It occurs more in women than in men. The ratio is 3:2.
The feature was filed by Rachel Engman and read by Nashika Caesar.
Let's now focus on some politics. Some new Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate hopefuls in the Lejokuku constituency are enthusiastic about securing the seat from the National Democratic Congress in the 2024 elections. One of the aspirants, Ibrahim J. Sowa, is determined to lead the area's development if chosen. Another contender, Ni Ashite Olenu, aims to empower local youth by fostering entrepreneurship and helping them start their own businesses. There is more in the following report.
The New Patriotic Party NPP has set Thursday, August 10 as the deadline for nominations to close in constituencies without incumbent members of parliament, MPs, referred to as orphan constituencies. Nominations were open from July 11, 2023. In the Lejokuku constituency, categorized as an orphan constituency, the NPP aspires to secure the seat in the 2024 elections. Ibrahim Ejesua, who has submitted his nomination for the parliamentary candidacy, expresses his readiness to drive Lejokuku's development if elected.
Lejokuku
needs more leadership. Everybody who has contributed to the leadership of Lejokuku, we salute them. Leadership is about stages, just like life. When you get to secondary school, you want to go to university. After university, you want to go to a better job. I want to offer the people of Lejokuku that opportunity to make sure that the links that are necessary, I'm talking job creation and development, these are part and parcel of their ambition. I'm focused on making sure that I can add value and be a partner in the ambitions of the people. And that's why I want to lead as a servant leader. And the best way to lead is to serve the people. And that has been my passion. I've grown up with it all my life. And those who know me know that that is what moves me. It's not your money that will move me, but your ambition, what you want in life. Let me also be a partner in that. And that's what I want to do for Lejokuku.
Another aspiring parliamentary candidate in the Lejokuku constituency, Ne Ashite Olenu, has also submitted his nomination. He commits to empowering and equipping local youth with essential skills once he assumes the role of MP for the area.
Once again, I will tell you that I believe that it is time we move away from saying, I want to give you a job, to a situation where we can tell the youth that I will want to help you to build a business for yourself. That is my vision. That is what I stand for. First thing I have for Lejokuku is myself. I am a living example. I am a living example that irrespective of your background, be it education or whatever, you can succeed if you want to. I have a master's degree, but if you ask me the job I do today, I will tell you confidently that I am a kenke seller. I am very, very ready, physically, spiritually, and delegidi.
That report was filed by Citi News' Philip Nilate.
Now, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, has characterized the National Democratic Congress's call for the resignation of Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison and his deputies as indicative of the NDC's lack of constructive solutions to stabilize the economy. The NDC had issued a threat to march to the Bank of Ghana and force the officials to resign within 21 days, accusing them of reckless management of the institution. The Director for Communications of the NPP, Richard Ahiagba, urged the public to dismiss what he referred to as the NDC's propaganda in an interview with Citi News.
Run the Bank of Ghana now? Is that a point they want to communicate to us that the Bank of Ghana cannot make a decision until they refer to them, the NDC? So please, this whole thing the NDC is done, it's a clear distraction. It's a clear evidence that the NDC doesn't have any message. The relevant message any political party should be communicating now is how do we strengthen this recovery? How do we make this recovery long-term? How do we turn the curve and continue to remain on a path to growth? The NDC must call a press conference tomorrow. This one they have done is a mistake. They should call another tomorrow and tell Ghanaians that these are our ideas to ensure that this economy continues to build forward. That's where the conversation is. That's where we want them to stay.
He added that the 60 billion Ghana cedis losses incurred by the Bank of Ghana in its 2022 fiscal year is not a peculiar situation to Ghana, but other central banks as well.
Central banks across the world are posting heavy losses, and the NDC knows about it. So if they just take time and read that FAQ, they would find out that the Bank of England is owed. Okay, is owed in excess of 150 billion. Okay, that is a debt that is on their books. In fact, the Swiss Central Bank is owed in excess of 132 billion franc. This is an incident that is happening across board, and the reason is that all the economies in the world are trying to build back from the ruins of COVID and the Russia-Ukraine war.
You had the Director of Communications of the NPP, Richard Ahiagba.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has assented to the Criminal Offences Amendment Act, which was passed by Parliament last month. The The bill seeks to abolish the death penalty from the country's law books. Citi News understands that the president assented to the bill on August 2nd, a week after it was passed by Parliament.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka, Accra, with me, Wilma Ubobi-Sakoman, and Charles Owusu-Kumi. Now, some stories we've been bringing you. The tricycle operators in the Ashanti region, they're on rampage on major streets. I beg your pardon, mounting roadblocks to intensify protests over ban on their movement in Kumasi metropolis. Now, would go over the phone lines to a rather sad note. Some communities in the Narlugu constituency seems to have been flooded. We'll go over the phone lines to speak to a broadcast journalist with the Nobia FM Yawache to tell us more about the situation there. Good afternoon, sir. Many thanks for your time. Briefly describe to us the situation in Narlugu this afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much. The situation in Narlugu here is unbearable because if you look at the main road that links Narlugu and Gambaga, there is a bridge that was constructed some 2 years ago. That bridge this morning, after a heavy downpour from the hours of 4 to 8, that we had the downpour, it has swept away the bridge and leaving the road bare footed. And you could see that there are also a lot of houses that are very close to that road and making it more unmotorable, especially pedestrians moving from Gambaga to Narlugu. Even this morning, the school children who are writing their BEC found it very difficult to move to the Narlugu Senior High School to sit for their exams. And we also have this morning we had interaction with the regional admin director, and we are also told that there are other communities within the Narlugu Walawali stretch, that is Gagbini, Tinguri. All these communities along this road have been submerged, and many people have been rendered homeless as we speak.
What are some of the things that have the municipal assembly or the chief executive of the area been to the area? What have they been saying?
For the chief executive, I have not seen him. I have not seen her, sorry. Rather, it is the regional NADMO director that was with us here. They have moved to one of the communities called Tinguri to assess the situation there.
Well, thank you so much for that update. You had the broadcast journalist with Nobia FM in Narlugu Yawache, giving us up to speed about some flooding situation that hit Narlugu, Gambaga to Narlugu in the northeast region. And we're told that the regional NADMO and his team are currently in the communities to assess the situation. And 3 communities have been flooded, so submerged after 4 hours of rain today. And we'll keep our eyes on the ground in Narlugu and bring you more updates subsequently. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. And my name is Wilma Ubobi-Sakoman here with Charles Owusu-Kumi. And we'll bring you some headlines that we have been bringing you. We had inflation sees a rise for the third consecutive time, hitting 43.1% for the month of July. We also had nurses at the Bimbilla Hospital in the northern region resuming work partially following reconnection of water to some wards at the facility. You can log on to our website, citinewsroom.com, for more stories. I'm Wilma Ubobi-Sakoman, and I was here with
Charles Owusu-Kumi.
Up next is the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News. Many thanks for doing the listening, and do have a good day.
Citi 97.3.